Welcome to the Story Hour podcast, Voices Unscripted, Stories Rewritten, with your host, Sarah Jaswal. This is episode 3 of the Story Hour podcast. And today's topic is something that's really close to my heart, something that I've been meaning to shed light on and bring awareness to for a long time. I just haven't been able to articulate my words, form my thoughts, but it's something that's been coming up quite a bit. And so I'm just going to speak to it and I'm just going to see where this conversation takes us. I think it's really important to talk about because I know I'm not the only one that's experiencing it. We're going to talk about grief and loss in the context of non death losses. I'm not going to get too much into that because that's not really the focus of my episode today, but we have death losses and non-death losses. There are so many non-death losses, and they're equally important and equally impact us as do physical death losses. There's so many different topics that can fall under non-death, but one of the ones I want to talk about today is the loss of our future hopes and dreams. Envisioning a life that you once thought you would have, but you don't have it, or it's not happening. And there's a lot of grief in that, envisioning what we thought our life would be at a certain age or what we long for, the deep desires on our heart, and we don't have them. There's a lot of grief in that. And I think it's important to talk about that because I never understood that at the beginning. It took me a while to finally understand that there is grief in envisioning a future for yourself and then not having it. Because I think most of us, when we think grief and loss, we think loss is something in the present moment. And I think that's just natural. That makes sense. But the more I started to go through my own experiences, the more I started to really experience the grief of myself, that deep longing, that aching, that yearning, that visualization of I can see it so clearly, but it's not happening. It's not in my life right now. And so I realized that there's grief in that. And I realized, yes, like loss of hopes and dreams and the future is a real thing. And I don't think it's talked about enough. And especially in the context of being single, longing for a partner, longing for a husband, a wife, longing for to build a family, to have kids. And this is something that's really close to my heart because I'm single and I don't want to be. And it's such a deep longing and ache that I want to find my person. I want to find my soulmate, my forever person. I want to get married. I long for marriage. I long for having a life partner. And I also want kids. And it's just something that I've struggled with for a while, honestly, a long time. And I've really just been leaning into that. And there are certain seasons in my life, if I'm being fully honest and transparent, that I am at rock bottom because of that, because I'm still single, because I'm grieving the loss of what I thought my life would look like, what it would be like, and just that yearning and wanting that so bad and not being able to have it. I go through seasons. Right now, I feel like I'm in a season that I am pretty okay. I'm not feeling so down and out about it. But I will tell you, last summer really rocked me. I was at rock bottom. And I know this is going to sound maybe stupid, maybe weird, maybe like whatever to a lot of people. And that's okay. Like, you obviously don't understand it, you don't get it. But there are also so many other people that I know feel my way. Dating in this day and age, in this world right now in 2025 is it's insane. It's crazy. I want to share what my experience has been like that and put a voice to what all you are feeling. That conversation about, are we getting too old? The biological clock. Is it going to be too late to have kids? All these societal pressures and standards that are out there. I'm here to knock those down because it's put such a toll on our mental health and even physical health. I've been using a phrase which I got from the book This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Amazing book. I loved it. I've been using that so much, basically preparing myself all year from the beginning of the year till now and still repeating it to myself and have built these affirmations around this summer will be different. This summer will be different. Sarah, this summer will be different. Because last summer, I was so not okay. I hit one of the most depressive states that I've been in a long time. And a lot had to do around being single at 30. I'm 38 now. At that time, I was 37. Being single at 37 years old and longing so deeply, like the desire is so deep, it's so visceral of wanting a partner, wanting a husband, wanting to get married, wanting to build a family, wanting to have kids, wanting to have a partner that I can go and do things with. I'm in a very different season of life than a lot of my friends, a lot of my family. Most people around me are all married and have kids or are in long-term relationships. And over the years, my circle has gotten smaller. And I think that's just natural with life and just the way it goes. And that's okay. But I also feel like I don't have people to do things with because either our interests are different, our schedules are different, or people are busy with their kids and with their own families. And it's something that I long for so bad is to have my own family. And I've been feeling like this, honestly, for probably my whole life. Always felt like that. I've always craved that emotional intimacy, that depth with another partner. And that goes beyond just physical. I'm not going to get into that because it's not the time or place to be talking about all of that. But one day I think I will go into that more because I know it's really relatable and I'm not the only one, just filled with so many insecurities and self-doubt and made decisions and choices that I shouldn't have, but only because like I was craving so much connection and intimacy. I know there's a lot of deep-rooted work there, and I've done the work. I'm doing the work and have been since I've been on this healing journey. And one of the big things was self-love. I used to think that all the cliche sayings like, oh, my other half, my better half, you complete me. And I used to fall into those, and I get it. But up until when I started to really uncover myself and started to really dive into the healing and unpack all the layers of myself of what I was actually searching for and what I was actually wanting to be validated, like what was underneath all that. It always came back to just connection, to love, to have someone love you and have someone think about you and take care of you and all those things. I learned really quickly that it starts with me. If I can't love myself, if I can't compliment myself, if I can't have depth and intimacy with myself, how am I going to allow someone else to do that for me? How can someone else do that when I can't give that to myself? It's been a 7-year journey of self love. I've struggled with a lot of insecurities, a lot of self doubt, like really badly, to be honest. And just even thinking about it, there's so much that led me on the path that I'm on, and I never really had self-love. I always used to compare myself to everyone else. I always used to think I was less than. And yeah, maybe there was some level of bullying or hearing that from other people and just being compared to others. But I also internalized a lot of it and felt it on my own. Never felt comfortable in my own skin. Just so many things. I really learned that if I can't be with myself, if I'm not comfortable on my own, how am I expecting a man to do that for me? And so then I realized it's not two halves coming together like we think it's supposed to be. We should actually be whole on our own before going into partnership, creating this life with someone else. Because you're always going to be looking for that validation in the other person. And when you don't get it, you're going to internalize that and you're going to feel really shitty about yourself, about the other person, and about your relationship. I've really learned that. I'm coming into this relationship whole on my own, confident, comfortable, secure before I can jump into that. Little things like spending time with myself, going out and taking myself out for lunch. I'm going on a date day by myself, allowing myself to be with my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, be with that inner dialogue that's in my head. Because if I can't be with all of that, how am I going to expect someone else to be there for me? How are they going to know how to comfort me and how to take care of me if I don't even know what that looks like for myself? It's been a wild journey. I've come so far, and I look back on my life and just the choices I've made, the decisions I've made, but also the people that I've been with. And it's really shown to me what was happening in those situations. And so last summer, I just hit rock bottom. I've been going through this up and down for so long, and I'm putting myself out there, and it's just not working. There's so much toxicity with the dating culture these days. I'm not against it by any means, but I also think it's very toxic. The whole swiping culture, it feels very icky and very filthy. And I go through phases. I've been on and off the apps. I've been on and off online websites for so many years now, and nothing is working. Nothing's panning out. And it can be really easy to feel like you are the problem, that you're doing something wrong, or that there is something wrong with you because no one's staying or you can't find that person. And that can be really hard. And I've realized that there's nothing wrong with me. And it's just what the dating culture is. Last summer, I was in a depressive state. And not just that, but I just felt like I was wasting my summer. I was on social media and looking at everyone's highlight reels, and everyone's out there going on vacation with their families or their partners. They're traveling, they're hanging out, and they're doing all these things. And I felt like it was wasting my whole summer because I wasn't doing any of that. I'm home all the time and I'm by myself most of the time. And I'm here basically talking to my four walls all the time. And that can get really heavy, it can get really dark. I love being by myself. I love my alone time. My friend, she used this term social hangover. When you're socializing all the time and you're around other people and you're conversing and you're hanging out, it's all fun and games. But there's a point where you're like, okay, I just need to be by myself. And I never used to be like that. That also plays into this whole self love journey. I was always needing someone else to be around me. Why? Because when you're alone, that's where your thoughts come in, that inner dialogue plays out. And usually we want to run from that. I've realized that I always needed to be around people. And I think when we were younger, we were partying, we were going out all the time. So it's different. Our lifestyles were very different. But now I'm like, okay, I need my alone time. I love being alone. I'm become quite the homebody the last several years. And I love that. I actually really enjoy that about myself. But I also crave connection, like we all do. And I just felt like I was doing nothing. And then I was getting very triggered by social media. And I actually had to step back. And that's one thing I pride myself in is when I know I'm triggered and I know this isn't serving me and it's actually depleting me and I'm unconsciously consuming, I know when to take a step back. And that's why I take regular breaks off social media when I start to feel that energy of triggered, of comparison, of, oh, I wish I had that, or my life sucks. Look at everyone else's life. And I know I'm not the only one that goes through that. We all go through this comparison phase. And I just hate social media for that reason. And it has nothing to do with the other people. I love posting. I love sharing my life and connecting in with other people. It's an internal thing. It's a me thing. And I also realized that all these years, it's a me thing. I think people should be sharing what they want to do. People are allowed to do what they want to do, and that's fine. But it's not on them, it's on us. It's an internal thing. Why am I triggered? Why do I feel like this? What are the thoughts? What are my feelings? Why am I so bothered by someone else having a good time? And then you really start turning inwards. I stepped off social media, but I was in a really dark space and all the things like, why isn't this happening for me? Why can't I find a partner? Am I unlovable? And when you get into those really dark spaces, you start to question everything, your whole identity, all the work, even all the work that I've done to this point. I'm like, okay, maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I'll never find love or I'll never be able to have kids or build my own family the way I want to. And you start to get caught up in that. And that's what happened to me last summer. I got caught up in that. I spiraled and I spiraled and I spiraled and I spiraled until I was at the bottom of the pit. And I just felt really sad. I felt depressed. This grief and loss of longing for something so deeply, yearning for something, wanting it so badly. And just to be clear, not wanting it because that's what society deems we all should have, or what my family and friends think. It's so far from that. My truth is, I genuinely want the connection. I genuinely want to get married. I genuinely want and long for, deeply, deeply desire having my own family and a partner to do life with. And so for me, that was really hard when I'm in those dark spaces. And I honestly didn't leave my house. I internalized my grief slash trauma response is to just internalize. I shut down and then I really just spiral and I fall into that hole. And that can be really dangerous at times too. And I think for a little bit it's okay, but there's a point in time where you need to start crawling back up. And so for me, when I'm in it, all the insecurities, all the self-doubt and the I'm unlovable and that whole dialogue. And it's heavy. I'm 38 now. Like, how come this isn't happening? And then get the societal pressure of everyone around you is getting married and having kids, and it's just a topic all the time. And I don't mind having these conversations. I'm very open with people about I actually want it. I'm okay to admit I want a man, I want a husband, I want a family. I want that. I need that. Last summer, one thing kept piling up on top of another. I ended up losing my license. So then I even felt even worse about just everything. And then the grief around my driver's license, around my vision loss. And that plays a huge factor in all this too, when it comes to medical conditions and chronic health, especially with me, anticipatory grief of knowing that you're losing vision and eventually you are going to lose a substantial amount of it, and noticing the changes in your day to day, but also thinking about that and wondering, is that the reason that I can't find someone? Is that where I'm at and I can't move forward is because someone can't handle all that or accept that I have this chronic health condition that's impacting my vision and the future is unknown? There's so much that goes into that. You can imagine the grief around on both sides of that. I eventually got myself back out of it. I think back to that and I'm like, holy smokes, this is what most people probably feel, because I get it. That longing and that desire is huge. I was doing therapy and I pulled myself back out of it. And I realized I can only control what I can control. I can't control God's timing. And I believe in that. I do believe that there's a plan and things are going to unfold the way they're going to fold. A lot of times it doesn't make sense, like at all. But I do believe that because for the longest time before that, I didn't believe that it would happen for me. I just thought it's not. But I've really tapped into God and my spiritual side. And I do believe it's going to happen to me. I don't know when, but I do believe it. I don't believe I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. I just do not believe that. I will not, I can't come to terms with that. I did at one point, but not anymore. So after last summer, I was like, what can I control? What can I do for myself to better myself and to be the person that I need to be able to meet someone? And that really changed. This summer will be different, came into play because I vowed to myself, I will not let last summer happen again. There's no way I could live through that again. It was really bad. And not only am I grieving the loss of my future hopes and dreams and this deep ache and yearning for something, but I also was grieving my vision, which I do all the time. But then losing my driver's license just put me into an even darker hole. I think in a lot of ways that needed to happen because it forced me to really reevaluate things and to start working on those things and letting go of control, I think was one of the biggest things. It's like, I can't control it. I'm trying, I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing the things that I feel like I can and I should be doing in order to meet someone. The rest is up to God. Really simple. The rest is up to the universe. I can't do any more than what I'm doing. And so this year in January, I kept saying, things are going to be different. You can't do what you were doing before. You got to let go of control. You have to just surrender to what it is. And I realized that. And that's really hard. I say that not lightly. It's really fucking hard to surrender to something that's so deeply, passionately put on your heart, something that you want so badly, so desperately, and it's not happening. That's really hard to surrender to that. But we have to. What else can we do? I've been working on that and training my mind, rewiring my brain, using neuroplasticity and doing therapy and realizing, Sarah, you got to let go of control. When I heard this term, this summer will be different, I've been using that and running with that. I still struggle. The longing didn't go away. The yearning, oh my gosh, I wish I could just meet my person like right now, yesterday. That doesn't go away, but it helps of what you can control and what you don't have any control over. You have to just let that go. That's been a really big game changer for me. It's been super helpful. And I've also been stepping outside my comfort zone and putting myself out there. So I also realized things aren't just going to fall into my lap. Like, I laugh a lot of times and I wish in a perfect world, in a dream world, I wish I just met someone at the airport or how cool would it be if I was sitting in the airplane and there was a single guy next to me and we just started chatting and we were soulmates? I'm sure all of you have thought about romanticizing these big ways. It's so cute. Obviously, reality check, I know that's not always how it happens. It usually is in the most subtle ways, but like a girl can dream, right? And so putting ourselves out there, stepping outside of our comfort zone. This is why I signed up to play a sport, because I am not meeting anyone through my friends, because at this rate, it hasn't happened. My friend circle is only getting smaller. Family, same thing. So how else am I going to do that? So then I just put myself in situations where I do have the ability to perhaps meet other people outside my circle, outside of my four walls in my home, outside of just going to the restaurant with a girlfriend or what have you. Joining a sport, not just, oh, I'm going to meet my husband there, but a part of it was like, oh, I'll meet new people. You never know when you put yourself into new experiences who you're going to meet or where that experience can take you. Or taking my laptop to a coffee shop or a restaurant. I haven't done that in a bit, but I used to do that because, again, you're putting yourself out there. How else are you going to meet someone if you're not stepping outside your four walls or your own circles? I've been so resistant to that. It's been on my mind, and I don't even know what the resistance is. But finally, this year, I really made some goals for myself and I was leaning into them. And I'm so glad I did, because it's just helped me stay balanced and regulated, and also allows me to feel like I'm doing something, because that is something that's in my control, right? That is something that we can do. We can't control when, how, who, but we can control what we're doing about it. I really want to share that. And culturally too, societal standards and norms. People start talking about your biological clock ticking, and it's so much harder when you're older. I think we've just been programmed to think that. And so naturally, the fear is there as you're wondering, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. And at one point, several years back, I had asked my doctor about freezing my eggs because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But I talked to my naturopath and I was sharing this with my naturopath, and something he shared with me really stuck with me and it made sense to me. It resonated fully. And I basically ran with it until this day, still feel it and believe it. But as I'm getting older, the fear is still there. I was doing a lot of detoxing at that time. This was right in the middle of my whole journey. And I was doing a lot of cleansing and getting my health back in track, like everything, my mind, body, spirit. And he said something around the lines of, you're doing so much detoxing and cleansing right now that your eggs will be more viable after all this detoxing that we're doing than if you froze your eggs right now. And when he said that, it just made so much sense. Our bodies are so full of toxins. And so when he said that, I was like, that's so right. Had I freeze my eggs back then, they wouldn't be as healthy as they are today, because I'm much more healthier now than I was before I started, and bringing my body and health back into homeostasis. And there's nothing wrong with freezing your eggs. I know people who have done it, and that's great. But I'm just sharing what the other perspective was from my naturopath at the time. And I really appreciated that. And I do believe that, because I do feel like I'm way healthier. I do feel like my body is healthier. My eggs are more viable now than they would have been back then. Just sharing that too, because I think these are all real thoughts and conversations that happen for all of us. And just that pressure too, right? It's harder to get pregnant when you're older and this and that. And maybe that might be true, but I also think nowadays people are having kids later. And so I try not to get caught up in that, because that also forces you to spiral. It makes you go deep in those thoughts, and that is something we cannot control. I can't control how and when, not how, when I'm going to have kids. Like, I just can't. Right. And so it's something that I've learned to just let go of. And I think last summer, as hard and depressed as I was, I feel that brought me to where I am today. I don't feel like that this summer. I don't feel that hard on myself or that down about it. Of course, the longing is there. I think about it. It's all year I think about it, but there's different seasons of life that really trigger it for me. And this might relate to some of you as well. My friend actually pointed this out to me, one of my really good friends. Last summer when I was in it, I remember sharing everything with her and I was crying and I was really upset. And she said something along the lines of, "It seems like summer and Christmas really trigger you." I never really thought of it on my own. I know Christmas is a big trigger because family pictures and Christmas morning and the matching PJs and all that stuff. And again, social media, right? And those are things that I actually genuinely want. It's not because it's just on social media or other people are doing it. I love that. I've always been a sucker for those kind of things. And so when she said that, I was like, yeah, I knew Christmas was. And also because Christmas is winter time and my vision is really bad at night. So that also really triggers me. And I fall into depressive episodes here and there, depending on the season. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes I'm really dark in it. But then the summer, I didn't realize that. And it's so true. And I think this can be really relatable for a lot of you because summer, I feel we all feel this pressure. We all feel this, oh my gosh, we only have a couple of months and we need to pack in everything now because it's going to be winter and then we're going to be homebound because it's so dark and miserable and gloomy here in Vancouver, anyways. And I've had many conversations with people over the last little bit this summer, but even over the years, is that they feel that pressure. And that's exhausting to feel like you need to be on all the time. You need to be doing things. And then you see other people doing it. So you feel like you need to level up to what everyone else is doing. Summer is such a big thing for that. I think a lot of people get actually depressed and sad in the summer. We say that about seasonal affective disorder is usually in the winter when it's so dark at 4 p.m. and the weather's really bad. We don't see any sunshine for like 6 months. People also feel that in the summer. And I felt that last summer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it. I want to share that because if you're going through any of this, if you're feeling that, like you're not feeling happy and joyful and excited about summer because everyone else is and because we should, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. It's okay to feel that. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. I get it. I totally, totally get it. And that's okay. I think we need to lessen the pressure and load off of ourselves, but also maybe it's a good time to turn inwards and unpack. Why are you feeling like that? What is it about your circumstances, about your situation or your experiences that you're feeling bogged down? Or are you sitting in comparison? Are you sitting on social media all day and looking at someone else's highlight reel and putting yourself down and under and thinking that your life isn't great because you're not doing X, Y, Z? I say all this because I've been there. I've done that. Like truthfully, honestly, transparently. I think we all do. So many people fall into the social media comparison. It's such a big topic right now. And it has been for a couple of years. It's so bad. But we need to take control of that and we need to own that. And we need to stand in our truth and recognize that maybe this isn't what I should be doing. Maybe I shouldn't be consuming 24/7. Maybe I need to sit with myself. Maybe I need to journal. Maybe I need to go to therapy. Maybe I need to go see a coach. Maybe I need to unpack this and figure out what is happening. How can I build a life for myself that fulfills me and nourishes me, that has nothing to do with how everyone else is living their life or doing their life? And unpacking the grief and loss, the grief around whatever is it that you may be facing, but especially when it comes to loss of future hopes and dreams, wanting a partner, wanting this life for yourself, and actually processing that. Because most people, I bet, don't process that. And that whole self-love journey is really coming back to ourselves. Do you love yourself? Are you comfortable with yourself? Can you take yourself out on a date? What's the dialogue you have with yourself? What are you saying to yourself? There's a saying, I love it. It's so beautiful. Be careful what you're saying. You are listening. I'll say it again. Be careful what you say. You are listening. Wow. I remember hearing that and it was so profound because what we say over and over, we think it, we believe it, we perceive it to be true. So if you're having a really unhealthy dialogue about yourself and putting yourself down, that's what you're going to believe. That's what you're creating in your reality. But this is what I talk about affirmations and rewiring our neural pathways in our brain, neuroplasticity is reframing those thoughts. So if you can say something negative all day and that's what you believe, what if you said something positive? What if you reframed those, reshifted those phrases and words that you say to yourself to a more empowering phrase? How would you feel then? you naturally would start to feel that, believe that, live that. It would just become your essence rather than the negative dialogue that you may have. Maybe you're someone that thinks someone else is going to come save you. Someone else is going to come complete you. But that's not true. You got to ask yourself, what is it? If I'm not whole on my own, how am I going to be whole with someone else? What's going to happen if that person can't fulfill my needs? If I don't even know what that looks like, right? If I don't love myself, if I don't think I'm beautiful, but you're expecting your partner to always compliment you and always tell you how good you look, and it doesn't always happen, you're going to start feeling down about yourself and you're going to internalize that. But what if you started now and started doing that for yourself now? There's just so much that goes into it. And I really want to normalize this conversation and bring it to the forefront because there is grief in all of this. And I want to put a voice to that. I want to put words to that. And I hope that's captured throughout. I don't think it's too late. If it's something that's deeply on your heart and you're doing the work for yourself and you're stepping outside your comfort zone, you're putting yourself in places where you can meet someone, it can happen and it will happen. I do believe that, not only for myself, but for everyone. I do believe that. And if you genuinely don't want that, then you do you. That's what you choose. It comes down to going inwards and sitting with yourself and asking yourself the hard questions. And with curiosity, not judgment, with compassion, not putting yourself down, but actually really realizing what are your needs, what are your values, what is it that you truly want, and how can you do that now, and then build that for yourself, and then find someone who can complement that, not complete you, but complement you. I think that's such a missing piece in the dating world. Finding someone is that we think the other person's going to complete us. They're going to fix us. They're going to fix all the insecurities and all the self-doubt we have by finding a partner. It's just going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's actually going to amplify when you're in a relationship and you're not getting met with what your expectations are. Letting go control is such a big thing. And I know that's easier said than done. But when you do that and you start to slowly pull away from having such strong control over something, the universe, God will amaze you. And these opportunities, these experiences will come into your life. And sometimes they're really big and grand. And a lot of times they're just really subtle. This summer will be different, has taken off for me. And I wanted to share that because it's so big on my heart. I really hope if you're struggling in this area, you feel like you're alone. I promise you, you're not. You are not alone. This is something that a lot of us struggle with, and a lot of us are grieving, this for ourselves. But we can't let that take us down. We just can't, because again, it's out of our control. We can't just sit in that forever. We have to pull ourselves out of that and start doing the things that we can for ourselves now, taking a look at our life like real hard, real honestly, and see what we can do rather than focusing on the end goal. What do you have control over right now? What are the steps that you can take right now in order to feel good about yourself, to feel good about what you're looking for and what you can bring into the relationship, building your confidence. That's another thing that I've learned too. I never really had that before. I always used to put myself down. I didn't think that I was good enough, or just a lot of comparison. My brain was telling me and the thoughts that I was having, and then I believed them until I started to really look at my life and look at everything that I've done and own it, and started to really build my confidence. And this self-love journey has done that. That's the thing. I wasn't just healing my vision. There were so many other things that are so interconnected. When we start to do the work, so many things will start to piece together. So many unrelated, we think are unrelated things that come up through all these different journeys and experiences, but they're also interconnected underlyingly, even self-worth. This is why I always talk about doing the work is so important. It's not just one thing. It opens up so much more of other areas of your life. And yeah, it's dark and it's heavy at times, but it's also very rewarding and very liberating to work through those things and to clear them and to let them go. It also builds your confidence. think it's just another huge component to it. If we're not confident in ourselves, it's going to show. That energy is going to translate to the other person. If we don't feel good about ourselves, if we don't own and be confident, and not in an egotistical way, but in a confident way, it's okay to be confident about who you are, what you bring to the table, and stand up for that, because that will show. And people want confident. I know I do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I was just thinking about this recently, something I was reflecting on, thinking about my own life and where I'm at. And I really do pride myself in a lot of ways. I never used to be like that, guys, by the way. I have learned through my journey is to celebrate the wins and to be prideful. I am fucking proud of where I am at in my life. The blood, sweat, and tears that it has taken me to get to where I am, of course I'm going to be fucking proud. Of course I'm going to scream that from the rooftops. And I'm okay with that. I have gone through hell and back, and I am damn right going to own my story. Own my story proudly, wear it on my sleeve, stand tall and proud with it. And I think that's okay. There's a difference between being cocky and arrogant about your life and your accomplishments, but the energy is very different when it's coming from a very heartfelt, heart-centered, prideful energy. You can notice that. And I mean, people are going to judge no matter what. No matter what. Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, people are going to judge, people are going to talk shit. But I have learned through my journey, and I know where I've come from. I know I've come from insecurities, low self-worth, just self-doubt, never feeling like enough, always comparing myself to everyone else around me, not feeling pretty enough, not feeling fit enough, like all the things that we all go through. I felt that. So for me now to own my story, to be prideful and to compliment myself and be confident in myself, it has been a journey. It's taken me 38 years to get to where I am, but I will not stop. Not on the expense of someone else thinking that she's too prideful. No, no way, not anymore. I used to just do everything for everyone else. Not anymore. I'm really fucking proud. And I scream that, shout that from the rooftops. And I think you should too. We all should. I love looking in the mirror and going, oh, wow, Sarah, you look good. That is such an abnormal thing in our society and in our world to compliment ourselves. But it's like, why not? We give compliments to other people. We want them from other people. So why can't you look yourself in the mirror and be like, wow, you look really good. Or you've been working out. It shows. Complimenting ourselves. I never, you guys, never, ever, ever, ever in a million years thought like that, felt like that. I actually felt the complete opposite. And it was really sad to know that. Even for example, today I got ready, I did my makeup, I did my hair, and I'm really feeling myself. I like the way I look. I feel very pretty. I love the dress that I'm wearing. I love my makeup, the way it's done. I'm actually enjoying looking at myself in the screen right now. And that's okay. That is actually more needed than what we think. That's why I'm so big on celebrating all of our wins. Tell yourself you're proud of yourself. Tell yourself that you did a good job. Tell yourself like, damn, I look good today. These might seem really small and minor, but these are just things that you can start doing now, start implementing into your life in order to get to where you want to go. And it doesn't dismiss how you're feeling. It doesn't dismiss any of that, but it's what can we do now to really love on ourselves, to really build that relationship with ourselves, to build that depth and intimacy with ourselves. Can you handle your thoughts? Can you be with yourself? Can you be alone? If you can't be alone and you're constantly needing to be around other people, trust me, I get it. I was one of those people. There's something wrong. There's maybe some codependency that's happening. And you're avoiding something. You're running away from what? And I don't know what that is for you. It's going to look different, but you're running from something if you can't be with yourself, if you can't sit in silence, if you can't take yourself out. What is it about that? Yeah, it could be insecurities. It could be low self-worth. It could be afraid of judgment, fear of being seen alone. I can share with myself, going out for dinner, going to a restaurant by myself was like no way whatsoever. Because to me, that meant people are going to look at me and they're going to say, oh, she doesn't have friends or she doesn't have a partner. She's by herself. That's weird. And afraid of people looking at me and judging me. That was what was underneath for me, or part of it anyways. And now here I am. I can take myself out all the time. I don't mind going to a restaurant by myself. I don't mind going on a date by myself, taking myself out for the whole day. And that's really helped me build this relationship with myself, but also connect with my heart and create that intimacy with myself, because I can do that for myself. Of course, I'd want to do that with a partner and I'd expect that from a partner, but I can also give that to myself. I don't always need to be around someone who can do that for me. If I can't give that to myself, how am I going to be able to receive that when someone does that for me? Like a lot of times when we give gifts to people, we do it so openly and excitedly. But then when someone gives us something, we're always like, oh, no, it's okay. Or if someone gives us a compliment, you look really nice today. And we have a hard time accepting that and just saying thank you, rather than saying, oh, really? I just put myself together in like 5 minutes, or whatever it is that we say. I've done it. I've been there. It poses a bigger question. Why can't we take compliments? Why can't we receive? What's underneath that? Is it because we're not used to it? We've never been taught how to receive. We've always been taught we need to be people pleasers and we need to give and give and give. But really what my point was to show you that you're not alone. I've been using this summer will be different. And I thought it was fun to do this episode and talk about what that meant for me and how deeply I desire a husband. I never grew up thinking about my wedding or anything like that. Even growing up, I remember not even thinking about kids, but it was because I was so blocked. I was so like, it's never going to happen. I'm not good enough. So I didn't even bother thinking about that. I've never been the type of woman who's dreamed about her wedding since she was younger. I've always dreamed about more so having connection. It's for me, what it's been like. But now here I am at 38 and I'm a whole different person, but also just realizing I do have dreams about my wedding. There's certain things I'm like, oh, I think I would wear this. Or what kind of wedding would I have? Would I have a big wedding? Would I have a small wedding? Who would I invite? Those things cross my mind now. And it's exciting though. And of course, there's sadness underneath that because it's not happening. And just to be clear, I still think, when is it going to happen? Even though I've surrendered and I do trust that God has a plan and the universe has its own timing. But I think it's natural. I don't think that goes away. But I'm excited as well. Something else I just thought about that I didn't share was, for anyone who's listening or anyone who's in a space where maybe you know someone who is really upset and really grieving the loss of their future and really wanting a partnership and wanting to get married and wanting to have kids and all that, is the worst thing you can say to someone who is expressing their grief to you and expressing their longing and their yearning for this beautiful life that they want for themselves. And you tell them the grass isn't always greener on the other side, or relationships are hard, or are you sure you really want this? Stop. Full stop, period. Do not say those things to people who are grieving, especially in this context. You should never say stuff like that to anyone in any context, but especially in that context. When you say that, you're dismissing every single thought, emotion, grief that they are feeling. You're invalidating what they're feeling. And that's so fucking hurtful. So hurtful. And I know it's not intentional. I know we don't say these things. I've done it before, but I learned about grief. I understand the complexity of it and the nuances of it. I know we as humans don't like to be uncomfortable. So it's really hard for us to know how to sit with someone who is in deep, profound grief or in deep sadness. Our human instinct is to want to fix. We want to say the right thing and try to take it away and make them feel better. But the goal isn't to take it away. The goal is to actually allow the other person to feel safe enough, to be open enough to express it, and for us to sit with that grief. So when you say things like, oh, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, relationships are hard, it's really not helpful. It really puts that person even deeper into their thoughts and feelings and into their grief. And they're not going to feel safe. They're going to feel judged and shamed. We want people to be able to talk about their grief, to be able to express and to share and to be open, about it. And so this is why people start to shut down. If you wonder why people are shut down, I mean, there's so many reasons, but it's because they don't feel safe to do so, or they get comments like that. I get comments like that all the time, and they sting. They hurt because I feel so invalidated in that moment. Like, I don't care what your thoughts are. I'm telling you how I feel. I know relationships are hard. No relationship is easy, whether that be an intimate relationship or whether that be friendship, whether that be family relationship. All relationships are hard work. I know that. I don't need to be told that relationships are hard. I know that. It doesn't take away that I'm still yearning for my partner. I'm still yearning for marriage. I want to get married and have kids. I still want to be a mom one day. Doesn't take any of that away. I know kids are hard work. I see it. I have kids all around me. I have nieces and nephews everywhere. I see it. I know it's not easy. I know what happens. I know the changes that happen, but it's still a deep longing on my heart. So just one piece of advice is stop saying that to people. Please, please, please. You're doing more harm than good. And again, I know it's not intentional. I know we just want to help and fix. It doesn't help the situation. We're not choosing to be single because we want to be. It's just not happening right now. And so that came through, and that's something that I wanted to talk about because it's the worst thing you can say to someone. It's not going to take away what they're feeling inside in their heart. It's not going to take that away. It's actually going to grow. That feeling of wanting a partner and wanting marriage and this beautiful life, it's going to grow deeper. And then you're going to feel so unseen. That's not the point here. We want people to feel seen and heard and understood. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. Sometimes just listening is all that the griever needs. A lot of times, all you need to do is, I'm here for you. I'm sorry you're going through that. I can see how sad it is and how painful it is. And I'm so sorry. I wish I can take it away, but I can't. But I can be here for you. I can hold space for you. You can talk to me. That will go further along than you telling them that it's not that great, kids are hard, relationships are hard, it's not all fun and games. I just want people to know who are listening and who are in the same boat and who have this longing and yearning in your heart, and you're feeling that griefy like feeling. It's valid, it's normal, and there is grief and loss in that. It's a real thing, and I'm in it. I'm right there with you. And I've been working on letting go of control over what I can't control, because otherwise that is taking over my life. And that's what happened last summer. I was so down and under so badly. And I was like, I can't do that. It's up to us to make the changes. And what can we do to nourish ourselves and to work through that? In my previous episode, I did share a lot of practices and modalities that can help you to lean into that, to allow you to slow down and turn inwards. It's not an easy road, but I hope this brings some sort of hope, inspiration, encouragement to really normalize this topic and just everything that I've shared. I'm always open. You can always shoot me a DM. I'm mostly active on Instagram at the Story Hour Podcast. You can message me there. Just reach out if you feel called to, if you want to just share your heart with me. And that's it. We'll see you for episode 4 soon.